morning, New Brunswick, and welcome to the New Brunswick Today show for Wednesday, November 2nd. We've got a great show for you today. With the election coming up, we're going to continue our coverage of the local and county races here in Middlesex County. We've got 3 guests today. All of them are Republicans running for county-wide office. Those guests are Peter Pysar, candidate for county sheriff, plus we've got Joe Scolari and Jimmy Hu. They're running for county freeholder. But first, the weather. It's 58 degrees this morning and mostly cloudy here in downtown New Brunswick. The high today is 76, another warm November day. And the low tonight's going to be 58. That's according to weather.com. Now, we've got just a few traffic advisories for you this morning. Somerset Street's closed between Home and Oxford Streets. Longfield Road is closed. Local traffic will be permitted there. And actually, the other one you can kind of see right behind us here is some work being done right here on Patterson Street. So Patterson Street is closed here between Spring Street and George Street. And we apologize for the jackhammering that you're hearing in the background. Nothing we can do about it. Now, so all of you watching this broadcast live on Facebook, please do us a favor and share this video with your friends right now. We've got those 3 guests coming up. Share the video so they can see that. You can also comment on the video with your questions, your feedback for us, as well as communicate with us through our Twitter account. That's at NB_today. And of course, later today, this video is going to be available on our YouTube channel as well as the NewBrunswickToday.com website. Now, the great thing about this show is that we actually let you into our newsroom and clue you in about what stories we're working on. So before we get to our top stories today, we want to let you know what you can keep an eye out for. One of those things is a report from Ben Strauss, one of our newest reporters here. He's putting together a list of all the public meetings taking place here in New Brunswick this month. Now, we've got 2 of those coming up tonight, November 2nd, that we want you to know about right now. One is your typical run-of-the-mill city council meeting. They meet twice a month. One of their meetings is tonight. That's at 6:30 p.m. in City Hall, just a block away from here. There's free parking in the back of the building there at 78 Bayard Street, and there is an explicit time for members of the public to be able to speak to the council or ask questions. But there's also another interesting meeting on for tonight. This one's at 6 p.m. It's not a government meeting per se, but the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital is going to be holding its annual, once-a-year, public meeting tonight in the hospital's auditorium. Again, that's at 6 p.m., and it is open to the public, so you might want to check that out. Speaking of Robert Wood Johnson, not only have they merged with Barnabas Health Systems earlier this year to create the state's largest hospital chain, RWJ Barnabas, but they also might be eyeing a purchase of Edison's JFK Hospital. New Brunswick Today's Lakeisha Thomas will have the full story on that later today. But big news around town is that RWJ Barnabas has partnered with Rutgers University to build a new athletics training facility for folks doing multiple different sports there at Rutgers. The hospital's agreed to pour $18 million into the project, and they had a big groundbreaking celebration yesterday on the Livingston campus of Rutgers, featuring a lot of the major players in local and state politics. Of course, New Brunswick Today was there. So here's some video shot by our very own Chris Roberts. It features Rutgers University's highly compensated, highly controversial president, Bob Barchi, and what he had to say at the big event. Take a look.
Please, everyone, Rutgers President Bob Barchi.
It's a milestone day for Rutgers athletics. You think back when we made the decision to enter the Big Ten, we knew it was going to be a haul. We knew there were things that we had to do. We knew it was going to take us a number of years to build the sports programs themselves, to bring the leadership team in of AD and coaches, and we also knew that we were going to have to do a lot of work to make our facilities worthy of being competitive in this new league and put us on a par with recruiting the very best athletes.
Let's keep going. And welcome back. Thank you, Chris, for that video. Now, we also took the opportunity yesterday at this groundbreaking event to ask some pressing questions of President Barchi. Now, Barchi's elusive. He spends much of his time out of state, even though he's got a free house to live in on the Rutgers campus. He can be hard to get a hold of. students and others in the university community are regularly referred to his underlings, such as New Brunswick Chancellor Dick Edwards. But even when we do get the chance to talk to him and to ask him a question or two, have a quick word with him, he usually walks away saying very little. Unfortunately, yesterday was no exception. We had some very important questions for him about the quality of the drinking water that students consume on campus, and when was the last time that Rutgers actually tested that water for contamination? Well, we also wanted to ask him about asbestos that's still in some of the older student housing buildings on campus, and unfortunately we were intercepted by one of his underlings before we even had the chance to really ask that question. Now here's the video of President Barchi making his escape from that groundbreaking event and ignoring our questions.
Hi, Mr. President. Can you tell me, when was the last time they tested the drinking water at Rutgers?
I'm really not taking any questions right now.
Okay. Are you concerned at all about the drinking water here at Rutgers that students drink? Sir?
I said I'm not taking any questions.
Have you heard about the water quality violations New Brunswick Water Utility has?
Right?
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Can you tell me when the last time they tested the drinking water here at Rutgers?
Oh, we can look into that for you.
Great, great. Is it true there's asbestos in some of the housing, the dormitories?
Who are you with? Do you have a card?
I'm with New Brunswick today. I guess the president's not taking questions.
Well, he's in a rush to get to another meeting.
And welcome back. That man who was intercepting my questions there in the video was Brian Ballantyne. I got his card right here. He's President Barchi's Chief of Staff. And for the record, I emailed him right away yesterday morning after our interaction, making sure he knew what our questions were. Now, you heard him say on the tape he would look into those questions, but sadly, almost a full day later, Mr. Ballantyne has not yet responded to those questions. We'll keep pushing, and we'll share what we find with you. So keep watching this show, and we expect to have another chance to chat with President Barchi tomorrow evening, where he'll be speaking to students. Now, let's hope it goes a little better than it did last time he was speaking to those students and we tried to catch him at the end of the meeting. Here's what happened then.
Taking any motions?
Can you tell me how much money you made off the sale of Covance? How much money did you make off the sale of Covance, President Barchi?
Charlie, can I help you?
Please don't push me, sir.
Can I help you with something?
Yeah. Can you tell me how much the president made off the sale of Covance to
I
Lab
think you
Corp?
sent questions to media relations.
I do.
We'll get back to you with the answer.
Okay, so
Do you know
you're
when?
looking for a 5-minute recess?
I don't know. The press just came in late this evening, right? So
Can you tell me who that was who pushed me?
I don't think he pushed you.
Is he a law enforcement officer? Or is he part of the
Looks
Barchi's?
like there was just a mistake when he was
He,
trying
did you see him push me?
I don't think
Did anybody see him push me?
What's your answer?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Tell the goon squad to lay off, please.
He's not a
This is
police officer.
And welcome back again. So if you haven't had the chance to pick up your copy of the latest issue of New Brunswick Today, go out there and get it while you can. This is our October 26th issue. We're already working on the next one. And our top story is about that latest water quality violation in New Brunswick water utility, the thing we were asking President Barchi about. Rutgers, of course, one of the biggest customers of the New Brunswick water utility. You'd figure they would have some opinion or some comment on those water quality violations. We'll keep pressing Rutgers to see what they have to say. Now, to find out where you can find this, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can go to newbrunswicktoday.com and click where to find NB Today in print. You'll find our 12 boxes around Middlesex County. Now, in other news, last night on College Avenue, there was a sizable protest. We've got some video here shot by our reporter, Chris Roberts. The protest was calling for immigration reform. It was a crowd of Rutgers students, staff, and some other supporters who marched down College Avenue yelling slogans like "Education, not deportation." The march was titled "I Am an Immigrant, March for Justice." It was organized by the Center for Latino Arts and Culture, which is working towards their annual Undocu Rutgers event on November 17th. And it's following closely mostly behind these students, though, was a smaller group of counter-protesters. They were supporting presidential candidate Donald Trump, carrying American flags and campaign signs supporting Trump, and they were yelling slogans of their own like, "Build the wall." Now, the protest ended with a verbal dispute between the groups, and we'll have the full story. Chris and our fabulous reporter Jenny Goldberg are working on that story for you right now as we speak. Now, the great thing about this show is you can listen in the background while you check out some of the fantastic stories on our site. So, for example, our phenomenal business reporter, Dave Schatz, has the story on Johnson & Johnson's latest expensive loss in court. Yet another jury in St. Louis has awarded a woman millions of dollars over claims that Johnson & Johnson baby powder, which contains talc, caused her ovarian cancer. Now, the loss is J&J's third in a row. It's over an alleged injury from using the pharmaceutical giant's talcum powder. This time it resulted in a $70 million award, according to Bloomberg. Now, despite the string of expensive losses in court, J&J continues to maintain its position that the talcum product is totally safe and does not cause cancer. The Hub City-based healthcare giant is accused in about 1,700 lawsuits in both state and federal court, and they're accused of ignoring studies that link the baby powder and their shower-to-shower talc products to ovarian cancer and failing to warn their customers of that risk. That's from the report on Bloomberg. The October 27th verdict follows two earlier verdicts this year, one that cost J&J $72 million, the other $55 million in damages. Both those trials were in St. Louis, though they are both being appealed. Now, Jenny Goldberg has the story on the latest chapter of former Perth Amboy Police Chief Benjamin Ruiz. The city government there in Perth Amboy has agreed to spend $150,000 in taxpayer funds to settle a civil lawsuit brought by one of its employees. That lawsuit alleges that the former police director sexually harassed her on a number of occasions. The civilian employee worked at the Perth Amboy Police Department. She was a records clerk, Nelda Capo. She filed the lawsuit against Benjamin Ruiz, the former chief. And the complaint against Ruiz, who is a close ally of Mayor Wilda Diaz, was filed at the Middlesex County Courthouse on December 10th, 2015. She was represented by attorney Gary Roth, and Capo claimed that Ruiz made inappropriate comments and incessantly stared at her for 12 years in the given time frame from 2007 to 2014. Now, Ruiz was suspended without pay in December 2014 after being arrested on charges that were later dismissed. Jenny covered that trial for us. And Ruiz was indicted under separate, in that case, under official misconduct, misuse of public funds, and witness tampering charges. But again, he was found not guilty on all those charges by a jury. That was on September 20th. However, he was officially terminated on June 7th, 1 week after a subsequent arrest on separate charges. Those charges were trespassing and impersonating a police officer. That case is scheduled for a pre-indictment conference on November 7th in the courtroom of Judge Dennis Nieves right across the street from us at the county courthouse. Now, I've got a story that you must read on our website right now. It is a story from April, but it's still very interesting. So the federal government charged 21 people, including 6 New Jersey residents, with serious crimes related to a scheme that they used a made-up university to help more than 1,000 foreign nationals, mostly folks from China and India, maintain their visas. Now, the accused were characterized as brokers and recruiters or employers who engaged in a conspiracy to fraudulently maintain foreign worker visas and student visas through what's called a pay-to-stay New Jersey college. But the masterminds of the operation were none other than the federal government themselves, who had created the University of Northern New Jersey, a phony school that was nothing more than an immigration and customs enforcement sting operation. Now, that school, the University of Northern New Jersey, claimed to be established in 2012, according to its seal. It was accredited, but the accrediting agency has since said it was participating in the undercover investigation. That's the only reason they accredited the school. But there was no campus, no teachers, no classes, and it was little more than a front for an immigration scheme. And this is from the the DOJ press release, quote, unbeknownst to the defendants and the foreign nationals they conspired with, however, the UNNJ was created in September 2013 by special agents who were working with ICE, that's Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and you can read the full story on our website, newbrunswicktoday.com. Another story you can read, our restaurant reviewer, Khalidra Lebister-Hadazi, has the story about one of New Brunswick's fine dining establishments adding a new gallery of artwork in their dining room. It's in the heart of downtown. Contemporary American restaurant, Stage Left, just underwent a contemporary renovation. The Dublin-based interior designer Aoife Radigan and her team at Restless Designs overhauled the traditional French-inspired decor that is part of the past now, and they are ushering in a sleek and modern present, according to Ms. Hadazi. And the restaurant is located at it's one of two located at 5 Livingston Avenue in the building at the corner of George Street and the city's theater district, Livingston Ave. Above Stage Left is Catherine Lombardi's, another fine dining establishment located and owned by partners Mark Pascal and Francis Schott. Now that new design, they say, reflects changes on their menu, the manager told us. He says, quote, we have changed the formatting of our dinner menu and have an entirely new bar menu. So all those stories and much more available at the newbrunswicktoday.com website for your reading pleasure. Now here's what you can expect to see on our site in the coming days. This man is Ronald Franz. You're seeing him. He used to be the police director in Carteret. You might remember that's the tiny town whose mayor says residents have nothing to complain about except the school system. So Mayor Dan Ryman hired Ronald Franz to be the police director earlier this year, but he only lasted 3 weeks on the job before getting arrested for eluding police and driving while intoxicated way on the other end of Middlesex County down in Oldbridge. So on Monday, Franz was sentenced to 3 years probation and had his driver's license suspended. The judge said he was concerned that Franz, a career law enforcement professional who had retired from the state police, had actually been belligerent with the officers who arrested him. And he wasn't just a DUI, he was involved in a one-car crash. So nevertheless, in a separate court battle over that case, the county's assignment judge, Travis Francis, made a key ruling. He ruled that the video of Franz crashing his vehicle and driving over some 50 feet of grass as he tried to elude the Oldbridge Police Department must be released by Oldbridge Township in response to an open public records request. So we'll have the full story on the sentencing and that important decision by Judge Francis later today. We've also got a lot of other stories on the site that will be coming out soon, but we'll tell you about those in the future because today we have 3 special guests, so we want to spend some time speaking with them. My first guest today is Peter Pysar. He is from South Amboy. He's a former Middlesex County Sheriff's Officer, and he's running to be the leader of that Sheriff's Department. He's one of 2 candidates on the ballot seeking a 3-year term as Middlesex County Sheriff. And so please stand by. We'll be right back with Mr. Pysar in a moment. Welcome back. We're joined by Republican candidate for Middlesex County Sheriff, Peter Pysar. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Charlie. Great to be here.
Tell us, how's the campaign going and what do you hope to accomplish if you win?
Campaign's going great. A lot of people vote Republican this year. Have a good response with people in the county. What I expect to accomplish, we need a change in the county. I think the last time there was a Republican sheriff in this county back in the 70s. Okay, getting back to the nitty-gritty, I feel as far as Chief Scott, for being a sheriff, I think I can do a better job for the community. Walking and talking to people door to door during my campaign for the past year and a half, people are siding with me. They need someone like I am that cares about the community. I want to improve the community safety. Right now we have neglected community safety. The police officers out there in each community, take South Amboy, Fort Amboy, Monroe, Spotswood, East Brunswick, throughout the whole county, people feel we need more protection on the street. As far as my department, from which I retired, we have approximately 150 officers. The 150 officers we have in that department are very high qualified. Years ago, we used to have an undercover team, narcotic squad. We used to do bench warrants, non-support warrants, governor warrants, drug offenders we arrest, and we would work with the prosecutor, we work with local police departments. Now that's gone. Since she became sheriff, that's phased out.
Right, they do a lot less traditional police work. It's
Right.
mostly courthouse security, transporting prisoners, and you want to change that. You want to do more, what you might think of as traditional law enforcement.
That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what sheriff's department's for. You're elected by the people to enforce the community, help the community, put protection in the community. We don't have that right now. Like you said, we have transportation, courthouse facility, and that's about it. My game plan is all the qualified officers we have, put back the task force on the unit, out in the street, put community awareness. With this awareness we have for kids, it's so obsolete. There's a LEADS program, which is put up by the federal government, is much better. We need to educate the students. We need to educate the parents. My goal is to educate the parents, have like maybe a 3-month meeting, get the community together in each different town, introduce them, educate them. Kids, bring doctors in so the kids can be educated. I spoke to several doctors that were on board, willing to help me. As far as drug offenders, it's a revolving door. It does not pay to lock out drug offenders. They're looking for help. I've met so many people out there, and I've helped people out there. They're looking for help. I want to stop that revolving door, going in and coming out. I want to stop it. Drug dealers, yeah, they should be indicted and put away in jail. I've been interviewed with Ocean County Prosecutor Joseph Corrado and Chief Detective Miller. They have a big problem there.
Yes, Ocean County, very serious.
And I tell you, for the amount of law enforcement they have, they're doing an excellent job. They have a very good plan. Same as West Orange has Operation Hope. They help people out. I'm going to set up the same kind of program in this community. My goal is to have more foot police on the streets, like we used to.
Walking patrols.
Walking patrols.
Yeah.
When you're out there, people respect you who you are. We have lost respect in law enforcement. My goal is to give the respect to this community back to the people. They can trust the law enforcement. They trust law enforcement. I want to secure them that we are here to help you.
Okay.
When you have an interaction with people, people will respect you and they can help you in the community.
Okay. Now, before we get there,
Okay.
you've got an uphill battle just to win, right? There's
Correct.
more Democrats than Republicans in the county. Your name is at the top of the county ticket, so
Correct.
right above you is Donald J. Trump. And, do you think that with Trump at the top of the ticket, that Republicans down ballot have a chance of winning in Middlesex County when you are already outnumbered here? Do you think that Trump is going to help or hurt your campaign? You've said you like him, right?
I like some of his ideas, okay? I think on the overhaul, the country-wise, people are fed up with what's been going on in Congress, Senate, okay? They want to change. They want somebody who's going to be not politically correct, but somebody who can talk to people, understand people, okay? As far as to the county, people are fed up with the Democratic regime. We had it for years. It's a Democratic control system, okay? I'm not going to use the word corrupt, but I think people can read in between the lines. Things need to be changed. Just to give you an example, when you were at the meeting at the county courthouse, the freeholder didn't even give you a chance to respond. And I know you asked that question about the water contamination, which is signed by the governor Christie months ago. He didn't even give you 5 minutes. He totally ignored you. He blew you off the map. That's not correct. That's not a freeholder's for. We're paying his salary. You, as a taxpayer, have the right to question, and him, as a county freeholder, should have a right to answer you correctly, not blow you off.
And you know what I noticed? I noticed that the sheriff, the current sheriff, your opponent, doesn't really show up at those
No,
freeholder meetings.
no.
If you're the sheriff, will you come to the freeholder meetings?
I will be to every meeting, and the public will have my access to office at any time. I will be a people's person. I will be elected by the people and for the people.
Okay. And now I got to ask you about your previous service. You know, how did you end up wanting to get into politics? You were a law enforcement. You've also done some private sector work. What made you decide this year to get into the election?
You know, I grew up in South Plainfield, and I retired. It gave me a chance to look around. I wasn't really happy with what was going on after I retired, and more people that I talked, I walked the streets in New Brunswick, Monroe, looked around, and the drug epidemic was so big, and I would sit in diners and talk to people. One young lady turned around and says, "You know, Pete, you should run for office. We need somebody like you that cares about people." That made my decision. When I had a young fellow approach me, try to sell me something, that was when I said, "You know what? Maybe we need a change in this county. Somebody cares about people."
So
To me,
somebody tried to sell you drugs?
right?
Okay.
And to me, now it's not the money. It's not the money issue to me. This job, you know, I could care less about the money.
Mm-hmm.
The problem has to be handled, and nobody's reaching out to help the people out. South Amboy, I've been working with the Young Recovery Groups project. They're great. I was in South Amboy there. They have the chief of police in South Amboy is great. He's reaching out to people, you know, and even the officers are reaching out to help people out. We need more law enforcement on the streets to help people out. That's what I'm all about. I want to make the community safe, protect the people, put officers on the streets so they can feel safe. That's what they'll be paying for, and support and secure the courthouse.
Now, especially when you look at the sheriff's office, you can't avoid the man who held that job for 3 decades.
Okay.
Sheriff Spicuzzo was, went to jail for, selling jobs on the police force. You worked under him for quite some time. Tell me, what are your thoughts on Sheriff Spicuzzo? He's now out of jail. I'm not sure how influential he is in politics, but did you find him to be a good boss, or what are your feelings about Sheriff Spicuzzo?
My personal opinion is Sheriff Spicuzzo, as far as it came to the men, he took care of the men. The men respected him.
Mm-hmm.
He protected the community. The job he did was fine. It was excellent. I mean, we were out in the streets. We had DWI spot checks. We had undercover teams working out there, serving bench warrants and everything. He took care of his men. What happened? What his scenario? I have no, okay, he committed a crime. Okay, he paid his dues, and I have no real respect for anybody that in law enforcement you create a criminal offense.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the boss being, he has my respect. He did a great job for the sheriff's department. That I can stand for.
Okay. Now, you left office right around the time he did, right? You
No.
or did you worked under Sheriff Scott for a little bit?
Yeah.
Compare the two of them as leaders.
Spicuzzo was a better sheriff.
You think it's worse
Yeah.
under Sheriff Scott?
Yeah.
How so? What are the problems that are?
They have the problem they have right now, not in the department. The morale is down. Okay. People have no respect for our department as far as local law enforcement. Okay, that's went down the line. They'll respect the law enforcement, but the department lost its upgrade up there. People can't go to work if you hate your job just coming to work, because you have to work under terrible bad conditions. Harassment of officers, there's no need for that.
Retaliation, those kind of things. Yeah.
It's I think from what I heard out there is that if they talk to me, they're going to the retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not fair. That's not right.
Understood. Now, what kind of terms did you leave under? Did you I noticed you had some matter that was still pending with Middlesex County about your pension or something like that. Are you?
That's been taken care of. I left in good terms as far as the officers in there and the department, but with Millie Scott, I don't hate her. I just don't like what she's doing.
Right.
Okay.
And were you successful? Were you happy with the outcome with your? I guess it was your pension that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just
I have no gripes about it.
Okay.
My gripe is right now, straighten the department out, do the community right, and put everything back on its track. And I think with the new freeholders, we have Katie Calabrese, Jimmy who's an attorney, and Joe Solari. I think we have a good team on board. But if I happen to win, and maybe they don't win or something like that, I will work with dialogue with the freeholders we have now. You know, I'll continue to work too. But the work has to be accomplished. But I am not going to be a sit-down sheriff. I will be out in the public. And again, I'm not taking a job because of the money. I'm taking a job because somebody has to do the job. And right now it's not being done.
Right. And so, last question. You already touched on it a little bit. You want to, use your, if you win, use your power to address this opiate epidemic, the
Right.
crisis going on with heroin addiction, prescription drug addiction. How will you do that? What will you do differently, and how will it make an impact in this very serious problem?
It's going to take me a couple of weeks to get that situated. Once I'm elected, I have to look at the budget, the way the sheriff's department is running, where I can go and what I need to do. I will have an open door. People that have drug problem, I'll help them out. Drug dealers, like I said before, I will put on some undercover officers to work with local police officers to deal with the drug dealers, arrest the drug dealers. People that come out detoxed on a program, help them get jobs in the county. That I will do. I'll talk to several different agencies. They're willing to work with me. You know, put people out there. Right now, we don't have that. They just go in corrections, come out, go back, methadone, come out, Suboxone, go in and out. It's got to end.
Right.
But people need help.
Okay. Well, so you're saying you'll throw the book at the dealers.
Correct.
And you won't go after the users.
Correct.
I got to ask though as a follow-up. What about when we're talking about drugs like marijuana, like something that a lot of people think shouldn't be Schedule I drug, some people think should be totally legal. Where do you fall on that? Are you going to go after marijuana dealers? Are you is that going to be a priority?
Well, marijuana, it's a federal offense to have marijuana, number one. Okay. But if it's medicinal marijuana, there's no problem. But if you're out there selling a brick of marijuana, yeah, you're going to jail. Okay? You're out there selling it on the street, you're going to jail. Unless you have medical. But if you have medical marijuana, you shouldn't be selling it on the street, just like pills or anything else. Okay? I want the big dealers off the streets. Once the big dealers are off the streets, now people that had the problem, opioids, drugs, they can continue on a safe way. The kids coming up, grandkids, like you, I don't know if you have family or not, their kids coming up. We have to clean the streets up. We have to clean it up. I will work with state, local, and federal agencies. What need to be done, I will ask for their help to get my community back in safe grounds. Let me lay you one more point. People don't realize Ocean County, Central Jersey, North Jersey, we're the center hub.
Sure.
Okay? We have access throughout the whole thing. That's why we need more officers on the streets, more cars on the streets, doing spot checks on the highways with the state police, with the local, Port Amboy, South Amboy, East Brunswick. When you have routine spot checks, now you're clamping down on the system. Okay? You're not going to stop it all, but you're going to put a dent in it. And that's where I stand.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Paisar. This is Pedro Paisar from the formerly Middlesex County Sheriff's Department, running for sheriff on the Republican ticket this November 8th. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We'll be right back with one of Mr. Paisar's running mates, Jimmy Hoot, freeholder candidate, in just a moment. Stay with us. And welcome back to the New Brunswick Today Show. We're now joined by Jimmy Hu, candidate for freeholder in Middlesex County. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hu, you are running for one of 7 seats on the Middlesex County Freeholder Board. Tell us, how's the campaign going, and what do you want to accomplish if you get one of these terms on the Freeholder Board?
Okay, every day we go out and campaign, we do meetings, go out stores to meet businesses and the residents around Middlesex County. Since May, we've been campaigning, have been to all towns, events, fairs, parades. It's very exciting. So
It's your first time running?
I'm running for Middlesex County the first time.
Oh.
I used to run for Edison Council 2011.
Iselin?
In Edison.
Edison, okay. So you live in Edison, or you live in Highland Park?
I used to be in Edison. I moved to Highland Park about 4 years ago.
Okay. And tell us about your background. You're an attorney. How'd you get into the practice of law, and then how did you end up getting involved in politics and government?
Okay, I was born in China.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college in 1979. I went to English major.
An English major. What school?
In Wuhan University, one of the best top universities in China.
Okay.
In 1979, Jimmy Carter was president. I picked Jimmy as my English first name.
You chose your first name after Jimmy Carter.
Yes,
Okay.
he became president. And I became a lawyer because we had American teacher to teach us English in China. One day I was talking to him, what he going to do. He said, I will go back to America, I go to Harvard Law School. That moment clicked to me. And then I started law. I got the high score in China in 1983, and I went to study in Germany, got law degree in Germany.
Oh, wow.
And like a German student, I was the only foreign student studying like a German student.
Wow.
I finished within 4 years, as opposed to 6 to 8 years a German student.
Wow.
I finished very quickly. And then I was admitted to the UN Secretary General office as a legal intern in 1989.
Wow.
So I was 1 year at the UN and attended all the meetings, met a lot of world dignitaries like Gorbachev, Kohl, Thatcher, Alder Bush, and a lot of people, and the Secretary General, the Quayle was that time. So a very exciting background I have. And then I came to New Jersey. I became a lawyer in 1994, New Jersey, New York, and 1996 in GC, got licensed there. 2001, I got a license for the new U.S. Supreme Court in GC.
Wow.
So I'm a lawyer for 22 years.
So you've been a lawyer for 22 years.
Yes.
How'd you end up, running for council and then for freeholder? And how'd you end up being a Republican if you named yourself after Jimmy Carter?
Okay, I think this country is a great country. Some people want to come to this country. When I came into the country, 1989, the immigration officer asked me, I had a letter in front of me, right, from the UN Secretary General office, asked me whether this is fake or true one. I told you can call the office to verify. Then he started to be hesitant. She said, I try to believe you because nobody be so bold enough to make a fake letter.
Not from the UN Secretary General, hopefully.
But remember, this country accepts talented people like you. I believe you're a very talented person. When you become successful, remember, I'll let you in. That's one thing. Then, number two, this country depends on talented people. If you come here, you make a good life for yourself. I hope you do. Remember, contribute to this society. We need people like you. So I remember that. I'm very blessed with opportunities. I came to this country, become very successful, have family, married, with 2 children in the public school.
That's great.
And I'm really, truly blessed. I think everyone should give back the success to the community. I decided to become Republican because I think Republican has added. So we teach people have skill to catch a fish, not just give them a fish. So if you teach skills to people who catch fish, they can feed for a lifetime. So we encourage people, Republican, to work, not depend on government for support. So we need people to work, because if people, everybody work, they pay taxes, country will be better. Instead, if you give them subsidy, they don't work, they collect benefit from government. Everybody else has to subsidize them. So I think Republican, this is very good.
Okay.
So the people to work, better for the country, better for the individuals.
Okay. And now, I haven't had the chance to interview you yet. This is the first time we're meeting. How do you feel about the man at the top of the ticket, Donald Trump? As an immigrant, do you support his positions on immigration or the things he's saying in his campaign? Or are you a Republican who maybe is not so thrilled about Donald Trump being at the top of the ticket?
I think depends how you view it. I think what he's trying to do is to curtail illegal immigrants. Because we don't do something, some illegal immigrants come here, really affect our normal life. For example, illegal immigrants, they don't pay taxes, they don't have regular job, and sometimes they're exploited, right?
Well, sometimes they do pay taxes and sometimes they do have regular jobs, but...
Yeah, but legally speaking, right, they don't have legal paper. A lot of people are afraid. I think on the one hand, we should develop some plan to legalize those who are already here, to make them a better life.
So you don't support mass deportations? You think that the...
I think what Trump is trying to say is, we priority to deport people are those who are criminals. They really affect our legal system. The regular guys, they don't affect the people, they don't illegal things, the abiding people. So I don't think these are priorities.
So you'll be voting for Donald Trump?
I'll be voting for him on principle, but I don't think his policies will be 100% endorsable to all the public.
And now how about for Middlesex County? What do you see as the big issues here that you can make an impact on if the voters choose you to be on the freeholder board? What are you going to do for Middlesex County? What do you think are the big, things that matter?
Middlesex County has about 20% population of immigrants.
Yes.
So it's a big county immigrants. And Chinese voters, about 10,000, registered voters. I know a lot of them have not registered. Indians over 20,000. So the two groups alone account for probably 20% of the voters. So each year, I think Republicans lose by about 9,000 to 10,000 votes to Democrats every year, general. And this year, I'm on board for election with the Chinese voters and the Indian voters, Asian voters. We could have clearly to win the race because over 30,000 votes. If we could have, we could have a chance to win. If I'm elected, I will be first elected Asian freeholder on the board, I think. And I will try to do a few things. Number one, since I'm a lawyer, I will look more carefully at the contract, examine the contract signed by the government, for the government, and the people. Because we know sometimes they don't clearly examine the contract, and now they lose the money, waste a lot of money.
So is that one of your specialties, contract law?
Contract law
Okay.
benefit all residents, not just for the special groups, the benefit for everyone. So number one issue, look carefully at contract to make sure complying with the law and comply with the spirit and benefit of the people in the resident. And number two, I will try to establish more liaisons, committee connections with all the diverse groups, Asians, any ethnic group, and they want to do some business. We try to help them to locate here, give them more easier access to government for processing, permits, environmental, whatever they want to do to make the county more business friendly, also for small business friendly. So many minorities have small businesses. Our economy depends on many small businesses. I think two things we will do. We get all the community organized and connected. So feedback from community, each quarter we have a meeting with community leaders in the county chamber to talk about what they need. Each group has their own needs and help each other. So two things I would do.
Okay. And last question. Tell me about New Brunswick. What is your connection to New Brunswick, and what do you think you can do to help the people here in our town, in the county seat, New Brunswick?
Okay, in New Brunswick, I go to the courthouse here quite often because I'm a lawyer. I do a lot of cases. I do a lot of adoption, real estate, we do litigation, family, and investment. A lot of things because for 20 years, lawyer, we have about 6 to 8 people working in my office. We have some business, and we have a lot of county residents in this county. New Brunswick, the county seat, and has developed so much. All the buildings you can see during the past 10 years, all the new buildings have put up. It's a marvelous development. I think this county has a very good future. I will try my best to help everybody who needs. If I win, I help everybody. If I lose, I still win. I still help everybody by my legal expertise.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Jimmy, for joining us. It's a real pleasure to meet you, and good luck
Thank
with
you
the
very much. I
campaign.
appreciate it.
That's Jimmy Hu, running for freeholder here in Middlesex County. And stay with us. We'll be right back with Jimmy's running mate, Joe Scolari, in just a moment.
Thank you.
And welcome back to the New Brunswick Today Show. We're now joined by Joe Scolari from Jamesburg. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Thank you, Charlie, for having me here.
Of course. So you are running for one of those other seats on the Freeholder Board as a Republican. Tell us, how's the campaign going, and what do you hope to accomplish if you get elected?
The campaign's been going fine, I believe. We're getting to more and more of the voters every day. I have people coming to me asking for change, asking for a new direction for our county. And it's my hope, my fervent belief that I can really make a difference in this county. My experience of 40 years running businesses and managing money has given me, I believe, the insight what's needed at the upper level of the county organization. Right now, that's sadly lacking.
So tell me about that experience you have. You were in the construction industry. Who'd you work for, and how does that prepare you for this job?
Well, in New Jersey, I'll just use New Jersey. I built all over the United States. But in New Jersey, I built the only 2 paper mills ever built in the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
I either built or rebuilt every single power plant in the state of New Jersey. Been involved with the rebuilding, and that's about every 2 years these plants will shut down for modifications and whatnot. Other than that, I built the only 2 steel mills in New Jersey. I've built 3 hospitals, municipal centers, libraries. In other words, I've employed thousands of people over the course of my business career.
So you started your own company? Or
I started my own company from scratch when I came home from Nam.
Okay.
Was unable to get into the profession that I wanted, and having a young daughter at the time, it's either put food on the table or starve. You know the...
Sure, you had to work.
So I fell back on my engineering degree, fell back onto onto that, went to work originally for DuPont at the corporate headquarters down in Wilmington, Delaware. DuPont saw fit to send me first to Japan and then to Victoria, Texas, where I supervised the construction of the world's largest nylon plants.
Wow.
From that point, I came back. I wanted to, I was living in Delaware at the time. I wanted to return to New Jersey. Came back to New Jersey, started my own business. And the rest is history, so to speak.
Sure.
Okay.
So,
I,
how'd you end up in politics and government? What you know?
Well, I've been
what
shooting my
led you-
mouth off for years because I'm really fed up with the way local politics here, not only in Middlesex County, but in New Jersey overall.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Middlesex County has unique problems. If we go back the last 30 years, and if we look at the last three heads of the Democratic organization in Middlesex County, where are those three heads today? Okay, we could talk about John Lynch, we could talk about former Sheriff Pizzuccio, we can talk about Mr. Voss. They all went to prison. And they went to prison for one reason, corruption. Okay? I don't see any difference going on right now at the county level. My problem has always been, when I was in business, I did everything straight. I didn't play games. There was none of this under the table, paying to play. I did it the hard way. And I agree, it was the hard way. I got knocked around more than right? But I have a code, and I live by that code. That code is my ethics, okay? I look at what they did with the MDO, the MCUA, okay? Now, it was set up originally so that they could, and was a good idea behind it. The original idea was to be able, for the county to be able to buy everything using the purchasing power of the pocketbook to lower the cost for things like ambulances, fire trucks, police equipment, for all the towns within the county. It was supposed to use that purchasing power,
Sure.
which is a great idea. I would, anybody who's ever run a business will tell you that. Except, in the contracts, they wrote into the contracts that they had to, what? Make a donation to the Democratic organization. So what did that do to all the bottom line costs? It raised them, it didn't lower them.
Sure, sure.
It's more of the same. This pay to play has to stop. The absolute, what's the old Adam about corruption? Absolute power corrupts and absolute
power corrupts, absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we've got a situation where the Democrats have controlled the entire freeholder board, the sheriff.
For the last
a long
30
time.
years, that's what they've done, okay? I think it's time for the people of Middlesex County, give us a chance. Just give us a chance. I am out there to work for you. That's what I want to do. I'll make it right. I'll be your archangel.
Okay. So
Sorry.
I got to ask you though the same question I'm asking your running mates. You're on the same line of the ballot as Donald Trump for president, and it's a county where there's just way more Democrats than Republicans. How do you see yourself being able to win, and what are you going to support Trump? Or are you going to vote for him?
Charlie, it's an uphill battle in Middlesex County, no matter who was at the top of the Republican ticket.
Sure.
In Middlesex County, not the statewide, I think there's 1,700,000 Democrats and only 1 million Republicans, and that filters down to the county level as well. So no matter who was at the top, I would be fighting an uphill battle. Seems like that's what I've done all my life, but that's fine. That's where I've been.
Okay.
I've chosen my battles. This battle, when you ask about Trump, for all of Trump's problems, and I'm the first one to admit he does have some problems, okay? But those problems that Trump has are nothing compared to what I see his opponent having. And that is the inability, I call her a pathological liar, okay? And we know what the term pathological liar, I think she believes her own lies half the time. I will support Trump because I believe Trump means well. I think he wants to see this country be exactly as he says, that is great again. I think he will bring his business leadership, which nobody denies he has, to the presidency, okay? If he can do that, I'm 1,000% for him.
Okay, well, I mean, you're in the construction business. I think there's be some people in Atlantic City that might not feel so strongly about Trump's business leadership. Do you think he was a good businessman?
I think he was an excellent businessman. Let me tell you why, okay? Trump did nothing more than you or I would do. Let me just put you in the shoes for a second, okay? When you go to have your taxes done, Charlie, do you do them yourself or you go to an accountant?
Sometimes.
Either one. Okay, doesn't much matter. But you look for every single discount or tax break that you can get. Am I correct? When you fill your taxes out, do you look? Right? What did Trump do that was any different than what you do?
Well, I think he had a lot of people who were working for him who didn't get paid. I think a lot of his contractors.
Are you talking about when he filed bankruptcy?
No, I'm just talking about people who weren't paid because he said, sorry, I don't have the money, and people ended up having to take less than what they were.
I've been through that exact same thing with customers, and I can name the customers, and two of them are cities within our state.
Okay.
They came to me and said, gee, Joe, we're sorry, but, we don't have enough money to pay you. I built Linden Airport.
Okay.
Okay? The new airport, not the
yes,
old
yes.
Okay? At the end of the job, here's all the paving is in, all the runways are in, all the approaches are in, all the hangars are built, everything is paved, everything is nice, and then they said, oh, by the way, we don't have enough money to pay for the asphalt.
So it's just sort of happens sometimes.
I've been on the same end.
Gotcha.
But you asked specifically about Trump. I don't know the specific cases where the people didn't get paid. I will tell you this, that if the contracts, and I know he uses basically the same contracts that I used to use, that if those contracts called for warranties and whatnot within the contract and they failed to supply them, you don't get paid.
Sure.
All right. I've had to call bonds, subcontractor bonds, when they failed to perform. I've been sued in this very courthouse. Okay. They've lost every single one of them. Okay. The contract, I don't know what Trump's contracts were. I'd love to see them, be honest with you. I'm teaching construction management today over at Mercer Community College. I teach it all. I've given lectures over at Rutgers. I teach down at the New Jersey Department of School Construction Authority. I teach the state employees.
Yeah, so
I would
you're out
love
of
to
the
see
business
those
now?
contracts.
So you're out of the business now, right?
I'm out of the business.
But you're teaching.
But I'm teaching the management end of it.
Right.
Okay? I would love to see those contracts.
Sure.
If for no other reason, to be able to answer your question with more authority. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what. I know what some people say, but if that were the case, he would have been forced to pay, or the liens would have been enforced. He's not a municipality, he's a private business. Municipalities can get away because you cannot, as you may be well aware, you can't put a lien on the city of New Brunswick. You can't put a lien on Perth Amboy, or Linden, or Patterson, but you can put a lien on a private business.
Right.
So, if for any reason his contractors didn't get paid, they had recourse. The fact that they didn't take it tells me something else.
Okay. So thank you for trying to answer the question. I do appreciate it. I want to talk about what you would do as a freeholder. If you win, you mentioned pay-to-play reform being a key piece of what you would want to change.
Major piece.
Like what else? What do you think are the big issues that the county residents face, and how would you address those
Well,
issues?
one of the big issues, and I heard you bring it up earlier, was the water problem, the quality of the water
Sure.
problem here in New Brunswick.
Absolutely.
Okay? I happen to, again, falling back on my business experience. I'm sure you've heard of a company called Floyd Daniel.
Afraid not now.
Well, Floyd Daniel is one of our country's largest contractors.
Okay.
I would say it's in the top 100. It used to be in the top 50 at one time. But they own a company called GTI. GTI is Groundwater Technology Inc.
Okay.
GTI, I built all the labs for GTI. I know everybody at GTI from the president on down.
Okay, so they do testing of water.
They're major companies that they test for, people like Sunoco, Exxon Mobil. They do all the gas stations. They do all the contaminated sites. They're into the
groundwater testing.
Groundwater testing. I had another company which was an air pollution control company. So I worked very closely with them. They did a lot of the lab work for us. I have a background, again, pulling on my background. I could call upon them. You asked the president of Rutgers a very pertinent question as it pertains to the safety of the students. And not just the safety of the students, the safety of all the residents of New Brunswick.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay? The last time I looked, New Brunswick was in Middlesex County.
Sure.
Right? So again, I look at them as my people.
Right.
If I'm going to go out there and fight for my people, all right, and I've been a fighter all my life, I can get the results that you asked for, and I can get it, and I would say probably 72 to 96 hours.
So you're saying if you're elected,
I'll get something done.
You'll find out when the most recent water testing was done, and if you need more,
I'll do
you'll
more
get
than
it
that.
done.
I'll get it done.
Okay, well that's a good promise. Thank you for promising that. Just tell me real quick about New Brunswick. What do you love about New Brunswick? What's your connection to the city?
Well, I moved to Middlesex County right after I came home
From the war.
From the war, but from DuPont and
Right, your time
because
in
they sent me.
Delaware,
I was gone a year, and then I came back. I was born and raised in northern New Jersey, but I moved down here to Middlesex County because I mentioned earlier a paper mill. I was building a paper mill and a roofing plant for Celotex Corporation over in Perth Amboy.
Okay.
It's gone now, but that's what I built. That made me move down here. Okay, I became involved with the local life, so to speak. The New Brunswick has changed so much in my lifetime, in your lifetime.
Sure.
And who's responsible for that, really? Johnson & Johnson, some of these other companies that you just earlier mentioned, okay? But New Brunswick has become a very vibrant, upbeat, upscale city. Whereas if you go back to when I first moved here, it really wasn't. You know, now I love this place. We go to the Laugh Factory or over to the
Sure.
There was so much going on within the city that it is on the cusp of I would call New Brunswick the center for New Jersey. I've been all over it. All right.
It's got a lot of potential too.
It's got great potential. The school, forget Rutgers and I did build schools. It used to be called Trenton State College. Remember that?
Yeah, of course. TCNJ, right?
Yeah, but I did all the grounds down there. I did all the tennis courts, the athletic fields, the indoor swimming. I got involved. But I'm always been arm's length with education, even though I'm an educator today. I've always been involved. I just love the way the city, the heartbeat of the city. You walk into the city, you can feel that something's happening. You can actually feel it. You know, it's moving. You want to be part of the city. That's how I look at New Brunswick.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Joe. It's a real pleasure talking to you and meeting you for the first time. This is Joe Scoleri running for Middlesex County Freeholder here in the county. The election is November 8th. Another running mate, Katie Calabrese, was unable to join us today. We'll try to get her on the show in the coming days. And we're also trying to get the Democratic candidates to come on the show. That's the sheriff and 3 freeholder candidates. So stay tuned to the New Brunswick Today Show for the next week. We'll be having some more great election coverage, some great interviews for you. And make sure you pick up our issue of the New Brunswick Today phenomenal bilingual print newspaper, available for free in English and Spanish. And thanks again to our guests today. Wish you lots of luck in the campaign. And
Thank you, Joe.
no matter who you're voting for, make sure you get out there and vote if you have the right to vote. November 8th is the election next Tuesday. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time on the New Brunswick Today Show.